How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Gaming Overload. I'm used to saying We Do Tech, but as you guys can see, it's not We Do Tech anymore, it's Gaming Overload. Gaming Overload is my new channel where I'm going to take a look at all of the different gaming peripherals, monitors, gaming gear, and just all of that, and help you guys decide if the product that I'm reviewing is actually worth getting. But now for today, we're going to take a look at the Corsair K70 Core TKL. Now, Corsair does have a bunch of different keyboards in their K70 range, from more affordable all the way to quite expensive. So I'm going to take a look at the Corsair, go over all of the features and everything, so you guys can decide on if this is your next keyboard, or if you want to possibly go for something a bit higher end. This one's video is releasing after this one, so yeah, stay tuned for that. But just before we get into the keyboard, if you guys are new, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, Gaming Overload here is for all of our gaming peripherals and gear and so on, whereas I also have the other channel called Hardware Overload, which is more for our PC components, and then also Unbox Overload, which is for all of our unboxings, whether it's PC components or peripherals. Everything that is going to be reviewed on the main channels is going to be unboxed there first to get like a first impressions and just see if it's actually worth doing a video on. But anyway, starting off with our pricing, like I mentioned, there are a few other K70 keyboards, but the K70 Core TKL here is retailing for around $100 or 1,800 Rand for here in South Africa. But you do also have the K70 Core TKL wireless, which is just adds wireless connectivity, which costs around $30 or more at $130, while the Core RGB is more of a budget-friendly option at $80. Then you do also have the K70 Pro TKL, which has an improved switch. It's just not a normal mechanical switch, it's actually a magnetic switch, which has its own features. We'll go into that a bit later, but that one is quite a bit more expensive at $160. It's very similar to this one, but with the new switches and some of the other features, it is $60 or more. But other than that, you do also have the K70 Pro Mini wireless. Again, so many different options with smaller form factor wireless, but that one's $180. And then of course you do have some of the more full-size versions of the K70, which also range in a wide range of prices. But for now, we're just focusing on the smaller TKL versions. Now, the Core TKL here does feature, again, the Tenkeyless layout, which does have a space on your desk and allows for a more amount of movement, which for those pro FPS gamers is very important. Now, I personally do still like a full-size keyboard because I actually do need the numpad for all of my work, but when I'm using it with my laptop on the go and everything, it's actually very nice. Now, as for the build quality, the top cover is made of a sturdy aluminum plate, while the bottom is plastic with a sound-absorbing foam in a side, which we'll go over how that sounds later. Now, the build quality is very solid with a minimum flex, and there is a nice heft towards the keyboard that it does make it feel more premium and also keeps it steady on your desk in your intense gaming sessions. Now, underneath you do get your rubber pads in the corners, and you also flip out a keyboard feet, which does only have a single set of elevation instead of the dual ones that some other keyboards have, but it does add a good amount of elevation, especially if you want to add a palm rest alongside the keyboard. Unfortunately, that is not included in the Pro here. There is a palm rest included, but not for the Core here. Now, on the left front side of the keyboard, you do have your detachable port for your 1.8 meter Type-C braided cable, which we can just plug back in there and wait for it to boot back up. Now, moving on towards the keycaps, they are a double shot ABS plastic, which is pretty standard at this price point. You don't have the PBT plastic ones, but I believe you should be able to buy them separately if you wanted to. I know for the Pro version, you can get that one with PBT, but not the Core here. Now, they do have a smooth texture, which might get a bit slippery after longer gaming sessions, but overall they do feel very nice and also allows the backlight to shine through nice and clearly. Unfortunately, the keyboard does not include any additional keycaps in the box. Sometimes you do get them in different colors and so on. Unfortunately, for this one you do not, and you also don't even get a keycap puller. Now, it's not the biggest issue, but it would have been nice to get one included. Now in the top right corner, you do get your media controls via the dedicated buttons and also the multifunctional dial knob, which you can customize through the Corsair IQ software. The control knob offers functions like your volume adjustment, brightness control, and also scrolling, which is a feature that I don't really see myself using too much or ever really, but you do have that, and you can also customize that inside the IQ software. However, it's not a fully programmable. You only have some preset functions, which I have to say is a missed opportunity for Corsair here. If you were able to add your own custom commands to dialing the knob left or right, pressing it down and so on, that would have actually been nice. But inside the software, I couldn't see any settings that I could actually change that or create my own macros. However, there are plenty of FN shortcuts for your lighting and macros, and also the keyboard does include a Windows lock key. Getting into the switches, the Core TKL here does use the new MLX Red V2 linear mechanical switches. Now, these switches are pre-lubricated, providing a smooth and responsive feel without any of the scratchiness that you get with some of the more not so premium switches. The lubrication reduces friction between the moving parts of the switch, which does result in a more consistent keystroke and does eliminate any of the scratchy mechanical feel. You can instantly feel the difference, and it's definitely worth getting them. Along with that, it does also make the switches quieter and more satisfying when typing, and also just ensures the keys remain responsive even during extended use. Now, the linear action does make it ideal for gaming, although they might not be for everybody. Personally, I do actually like using more of a browner switch, where it does have a tactile bump, but again, that's just me, and reds are probably the most popular switches. But now compared to some of the other brands, let's say Cherry Red switches, the MLX Red V2 switches have the same 45 gram actuation force and a 2 millimeter actuation distance, but again, it does feel more smoother due to the pre-lubed switches. But you also have the Pro versions of the Cherry switches, which are also pre-lubed, so just make sure on which one you would actually get when comparing to the Core TKL here. But now let's quickly get into the sound test and hear how the MLX Red V2 switches sound, comparing it to some of the other keyboards that I have on hand, both other reds and browns, and also pre-lubed and not pre-lubed switches. Alright, then moving on towards the RGB lighting. The keyboard does feature per key RGB backlighting, and it is impressively bright. You can adjust everything inside the Corsair IQ software, which does allow you to customize everything to your heart's content. It's pretty self-explanatory. You do have a bunch of different features that you can play around with, but you can also control a majority of the lighting effects on the keyboard itself with the FN functions like the speed, the direction, on all of the preset lighting effects. Now, getting into our gaming experience, the K70 CORE TKL here does excel at that. The lack of the numpad doesn't mean there's a more desk space for your mouse to just go crazy on, especially if you do plan on a lower DPI. The MLX Red V2 switches are quick and smooth, and the dual layer dampening does an excellent job of keeping the noise levels down. So if you are gaming at middle of the night, and if you don't want to annoy anybody, you can use those, and it'll be quite enough, even if you want to stream as well. And like I mentioned before, I personally again do prefer tactile switches like a browns for typing, but these MLX Reds are fantastic for gaming. They're responsive, quiet, and comfortable. So honestly, I have no complaints for gaming. Now, to wrap things up, the Corsair K70 CORE TKL is an impressive keyboard for its price point. Now, it might be out of the budget for some of you out there. Again, there are so many different more budget Tenkeyless keyboards out there, which are mechanical, RGB, and all of that. So you do have other options, but everything that you get with the Core here, the build quality is solid, the switches feel great for gaming, and also the RGB is vibrant and clear. everything that you expect from Corsair. But like I mentioned again, there are other keyboards that's cheaper and possibly does have more features. It's not from a known brand like Corsair, but you do get them. So it is going to depend up to you on what you like. Do you want to go for a Corsair reputable brand, or you want to go for something else? Now, in my unboxing video, there was people commenting on their keyboard, their favorite keyboard, and why would you get this when you can get that, and everything. In the end, it's just up to your personal preference, which one you would actually want to go for, which brand you like, which size you like, what's your price point, and all of that. So I'm just giving you guys all of the information so you guys can make an informed decision. But honestly, I don't really have any complaints for what the K70 Core TKL here delivers. So if you guys want to get it for yourself, I will leave links in the video description. A big shout out to Corsair for sending it over for review. It is going back, so keep that in mind. I'm not keeping it or anything. I'm not paid or whatever for doing the videos. So yeah, that's just my honest opinion on the keyboard. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment like always. If you have something else you would like me to take a look at, let me know down in the comments below. I'll see all of you guys next time. Cheers, guys.